Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the number of tasks you have to do as a senior software engineer? Do you find it hard to concentrate on your current task because your brain constantly reminds you of other tasks that need your attention? Do you struggle to remember all the details and discussions that are involved in your work? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then you might be suffering from cognitive overload. Cognitive overload is a situation where your brain receives more information than it can process and store in your working memory. Your working memory is the part of your brain that holds and manipulates information for a short period of time. It's like a mental workspace where you perform various cognitive tasks. I have another video that goes into more details into the working memory topic. You can find the link in the description below to learn more. So what happens when you have too many tasks and decisions to make as a software engineer? You overload your working memory and hinder your focus. You might experience mental fatigue, stress, confusion, forgetfulness, and reduced performance. You might also miss important details, make errors, and procrastinate. The problem is that your working memory has a limited capacity and duration. According to the cognitive load theory, your working memory can only handle about 4 to 6 chunks of information at a time, and it can only hold them for about 15 to 30 seconds. Anything beyond that will either be forgotten or transformed to your long-term memory, which is a part of your brain that stores information for a long period of time. How can you avoid cognitive overload and achieve clarity and focus? There are many solutions like breaking down the task, prioritizing, and not multitasking, but they only prevent you from getting overwhelmed. They don't help you when you are already overwhelmed and need to get back on track. I discovered that the solution is mind dump. Wait, I know you might be tempted to click off this video now, but if you want to know the best way to do a mind dump and what works for me and what don't, then stay with me as we will overcome this problem together. I used to struggle with overwhelm when working on a project. My mind would get distracted by different possibilities and I could not think clearly. I often had headaches and felt exhausted. This was manageable when I was a junior software engineer with just one responsibility, but not when I became a senior software engineer with multiple responsibilities. I realized that working hard was not enough. I needed a better solution. I tried various methods like taking breaks and time boxing, but they didn't work. They only left me with attention residue, which worsened the overwhelm problem. After a long time, I found that mind dump helps me most of the time. Mind dump is a technique where you write down everything on your mind on a paper or a notes app. It clears your mental clutter and free of your brain space. Why does mind dump work? Because it reduces the cognitive load on your working memory and allows you to focus on what matters most. By writing down your thoughts, you externalize them and make them more concrete and manageable. You also create a visual representation of your mental state, which helps you to organize your thought and prioritize your tasks. And you also increase your self-awareness, which helps you to identify and address any negative emotions and belief that might be affecting your work. But before we dive into how to do a mind dump, let's take a look at the type of cognitive load that you might encounter as a senior software engineer. Psychologists have identified 3 types of cognitive load: intrinsic load, extraneous load, and germane load. Intrinsic load is the inherent difficulty of the task. It depends on your prior knowledge, skills, and interest in the topic. For example, if you are working on a new feature that requires you to learn a new technology or a framework, you might experience a high intrinsic load. Or if you are working on a bug that is hard to replicate or fix, you might also face high intrinsic load. Extraneous load is the demand placed on your working memory by the way the information is presented or the way the task is designed. For example, if you are reading a poorly written code, you might experience a high extraneous load. Or if you are working on a task that has unclear requirement or expectations, you might also encounter a high extraneous load. Germane load. Germane load is the mental effort required to understand and learn new information. It depends on how well you can relate the new information to your existing knowledge and how well you can apply it to your work. For example, if you are watching a tutorial or a webinar that explains a concept or a technique that is relevant and useful for your work, you might experience a high germane load. Or if you are working on a task that challenges you to think creatively and critically, you might also face a high germline load. As you can see, not all type of cognitive load are bad. In fact, germline load is desirable because it helps you to learn and grow as a software engineer. However, intrinsic and extraneous load can be detrimental to your performance and well-being. They can cause you to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or bored. They can also interfere with your germline load and prevent you from learning effectively. That's why you need to mind dump. Mind dump can help you reduce your intrinsic and extraneous load and increase your germline load. It can help you simplify your task and clarify your goal and enhance your learning. How do you do a mind dump? It's very simple. All you need is a piece of paper, a pen, or a notes app. Step 1. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write down everything that comes to your mind. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, and structure. Just write whatever pops into your head. It can be related to your work, your personal life, your goal, your worries, your ideas, and anything else. The goal is to get everything out of your head and onto the paper or the screen. Step 2. When the timer goes off, stop writing and take 3 deep breaths. You might feel a sense of relief, calmness, or clarity. You might also notice some patterns, themes, and connection among your thoughts. Step 3. Review your notes and highlight the relevant information. This is where you filter out the noise and focus on the signals. Look for the task, decision, problems, or questions that are related to your work as a senior software engineer. Now, it's time to organize your notes and create a plan of action. This is where you sort, categorize, and prioritize your tasks and decisions. You can use a to-do list, a calendar, a project management tool, or any other system that works. The idea is to create a clear and realistic plan of action that will help you achieve your goal and solve your problem. That's it. That's how you do mind dumps. You can do this every morning or whenever you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or unfocused. It will only take you 10 to 15 minutes, but it will make a huge difference in your productivity and performance as a senior software engineer. But wait, there is more. I have a bonus tips for you. If you want to take your mind dump to a next level, you can use a shorter version of it that I called stand-up questionnaire. A stand-up questionnaire is a set of 3 questions that you ask yourself every day to keep track of your progress and stay focused on your priority. The questions are, what did I do yesterday? This question will help you recall what you accomplished the previous day and refresh your memory on the current state of your work. It will also help you celebrate your wins and learn from your mistakes. What am I doing today? This question will help you define what you need to do today. Move forward with your work. If you are working on a multiple task at a time, then it will be good to keep today's details on the outcome level and then break down what action you are taking to reach that point. What are my blockers? This question will help you identify any challenges or issues that preventing you from completing your task or making your decisions. This will be something you need to unblock yourself or delegate to your scrum master or managers. You can use this stand-up questionnaire as a daily check-in with yourself or with your team. It will help you to stay aligned, accountable, and agile. It will also help you avoid cognitive overload and achieve clarity and focus. So, to become a better manager of your mind as a senior software engineer, try these 2 simple techniques, mind dump and morning stand-up questionnaire. They can reduce your cognitive overload and overwhelm. If you get value from this video, you probably want to learn more tips on how I learn technical skills. Watch my other video, the 3-way enforcement method, on the screen. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.